Traffic and Refuse Committee will be called to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Moore. Alderwoman Murphy.
Here.
Alderman Kotar. Alderwoman Martin.
Present.
Alderwoman Boyd.
Here.
Alderman Bosley. Alderwoman Middlebrook.
Present.
Chairman Boyd.
Present.
5 present, you have quorum.
Okay, we're going to excuse Alderman from the 7th Ward, Kotor, due to necessary absence. I'll take a motion on approval of the minutes.
I move we approve the minutes from September 26th.
Second.
Then move to second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Moore. Alderwoman Murphy.
Aye.
Alderman Kotar. Alderwoman Martin.
Here, yes.
Aye.
Yes, aye, sorry.
Alderwoman Boyd.
That already?
Alderman Bosley. Alderwoman Middlebrook.
Aye.
Chairman Boyd.
Aye.
5 aye votes.
Okay, first board bill before us is Board Bill 117, sponsored by Alderman Jesse Todd.
Good morning, Honorable
Morning.
Chairman and Honorable Committee people. Thank you all for allowing me to speak before you today. This Board Bill 117, what it's dealing with is the name. It's a name change, and the proposed bill is a street name Pastor Nelson Watts and Ms. Rosetta Watts Lane, which shall begin in the, so I would like to change the name to Pastor Watts and Rosetta Watts Lane, which will begin at the intersection of East Cook Avenue and Jones Street and run north on Jones Street to the intersection of Jones Street and Page Boulevard. The proposed bill impacts on the community is not unknown at this time, but it's a vacant, it's a street with no houses, and the church has been in the, has been in the area for many years, and there's been great work done on this, by this church in our community. And so I think their names, the name in their honor would be a great service to the community in the 18th Ward.
Okay, let's see if we have any questions from members of the committee. Alderwoman Murphy.
This is an honorary street name, so it'll be above the
Yes.
the regular, yes. Okay, thank you. That's all I wanted to make sure.
Alderwoman.
Yeah, thank you.
Alderwoman Martin.
No questions.
Alderwoman Pam Boyd.
No questions.
Alderwoman Middlebrook.
No questions.
Okay. So just to be clear, this is not a name change.
No, it
This is
isn't.
just an honorary street designation.
Right. Yes, Chairman.
All right. I'll entertain a motion on Board Bill 117.
I move that we pass Board Bill 117 with a due process recommendation.
Second.
Ms. Move in a second. Any objection to previous roll?
No.
Hearing no objection to previous roll, Board Bill 117 comes out of committee with a due pass recommendation. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, honorable committee people.
You're welcome. Okay, next board bill, looks like we'll go ahead and take Board Bill 108, sponsored by Alderwoman Middlebrook. And then while you're there,
Shortest bill
we'll
ever.
take 110.
Oh, there's more in the back, okay.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, thank you, and members of the committee.
Alderwoman Middlebrook, can you move the microphone up a little bit?
I sure can.
Thank you.
There you go. Can you hear me now?
We got it now.
Okay. Board Bill 108, the purpose of this bill is to vacate a public alley and street. It's Fordey Street from Antelope to Thatcher. And the petitioner is AA Express and Logistics LLC, and the vacated area will be used to consolidate property for expansion as well as improve security. And that's pretty much the summary for this board bill.
Okay, Alderwoman Murphy.
You say this is an alley?
Yes, this is a public alley and street.
And that's the only business that's on it? The reason I'm asking is because I think if we vacate it, how are refuse trucks and that going to get by? Is this the only company on there, this?
As far as I know,
Okay,
yes.
that's all. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Alderman Martin,
No questions.
Alderman Pam Boyd,
So it's no residential, it's just
No,
commercial?
just commercial.
Okay.
okay. I was just kind of looking at it on the map. So what kind of expansion are they doing?
Well, let me be correct on this. Yeah, they're just consolidating stuff on,
So they
From
own
my-
stuff on both sides of the street?
yes, yes.
And does this run into a dead end?
That I don't know.
An industrial park. I was just kind of curious as what it would do to the traffic pattern. Okay. Give me a quick second. Okay, so this looks like, is that Broadway it dumps into?
More
Hall
than
Street.
likely Hall
So it
Street.
dumps into Hall Street. So is it basically from Hall Street to the end of the road?
That I don't know.
Okay, Thatcher and East Railroad. Okay. Well, you know your ward better than I do. I was just kind of curious as to how that was going to work. I'll entertain a motion on Board Bill 108. You want to move your bill?
I move that we pass Board Bill 108 with the due pass recommendation.
Second,
Second.
Then moved in second.
previous row.
Hearing no objection to previous roll, 108 comes out of committee with due pass recommendation. Next board bill is Board Bill 110, sponsored by Alderman Middlebrook.
Thank you. Okay, Board Bill 110, the overall purpose for this bill is to conditionally vacate the following public alley. This is the westmost, oh, I'm not gonna read all that. 170.44, 20-foot wide east-west alley in City Block 4233 as bounded by Fordey, Thatcher, East Railroad, and Antelope. The petitioner is Solutions Concepts LLC, and the vacated area will be used initially to secure property to discourage illegal dumping and later to consolidate property for future commercial development. This is an area that suffers from a lot of dumping. I mean, a lot, unfortunately.
Okay, Alderwoman Murphy.
Just out of curiosity, is this close to the other place that we're doing? Because I recognize the streets are Fordey, Thatcher, and Antelope.
I do believe so.
So it's probably close to the other place. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, Alderwoman Martin.
No questions.
Alderwoman Pam Boyd.
So you said it, it said vacate above surface and subsurface, so they're gonna make like a parking lot?
I don't have the answer for that. I don't know what they're making.
Okay, no other questions. I was just kinda confused.
So it looks like to me, these two board bills, it's the same street, but one owner owns from Hall Street to 150 feet, and I guess
The other one.
it picks up from there and moves an additional 170 feet or something like that.
Right.
I'm just
That's what it's
kind
looking
of
like to
curious
me.
as to if the person that owns from Hall Street, so if Double A Express and Logistics, if this is vacated, then technically they wouldn't be able to get to their portion. If I'm first and I'm at Hall Street and we're vacating that all the way up 150 feet, then that's me. I can put a gate up, I can do whatever I want to do, so I can actually gate it off, and then that other person would have access. Are they part of the same company, parent
I
company or
don't
something?
know if they're part of the same company, but I'm thinking that maybe they talked it out amongst themselves. and figured it out. I don't know how they,
All right, I'll entertain a motion on Board Bill 110.
I move that we pass Board Bill 110 out with a do-pass recommendation.
Been moved and second.
Previous round.
Hearing no objection to previous rule, Board Bill 110 comes out of committee with due pass recommendation. Next board bill before us is Board Bill 109, sponsored by Alderwoman Sarah Martin.
Good morning. This is, sorry, excuse me. This is pretty simple. It'll Grani.
Listen.
Okay, that's fine. It'll Grani, which is a grain company in my ward, kind of along the river, between Broadway and the river. They purchased a property from another company, and they just basically want to consolidate the parcels, and they are the only company that needs to access this roadway, if you will. It's almost not even paved. And there's no trash service at all to it. It's just become basically one big piece of property with this pasta company. So it's kind of an interesting little company. But they just want to vacate this and only have one access point.
Okay, Alderman Murphy.
No questions. I know the spot, and that it'll probably end up looking a lot nicer.
I think so. They've done a great job, and I'm just very impressed with how they've gone about all their construction and just anything. I could go on and on about this company.
That's right.
Okay, Alderwoman Pam Boyd.
So they're doing pretty good, huh?
They are. So they make semolina, which makes for pasta for like Barilla and some of these other companies that you just don't realize that they're making that right here in St. Louis.
Okay, no questions.
Alderwoman Middlebrook.
No questions.
Okay, out of curiosity, Alderwoman Martin, you and I have had some conversations about the process of alley vacations and street vacations. How long did it take for this vacation?
About a year and a half, and that's also with, they have the ability to hire lawyers that do this on a regular basis here at City Hall for a lot of different companies, and not everybody has that kind of access.
Why did it take so long? I'm just trying to
I
figure
think
out.
there's an issue in Streets Department, and I don't think that it seems that depending on, I don't know, depending on different circumstances, some are easier to vacate than others. When I've had to go vacate a property, most recently, a school that had a school, somebody was purchasing the school to turn into condos. The gym was built in 1992. Lions School, right by you, actually. The gym was built on the alley in the 90s, right? So it's technically been vacated since like 1992. And for whatever reason, the school board at the time didn't finalize the paperwork, so they had to go back in and re-vacate. And we had to start from scratch, even though there is a building on the alley. There is no trash service. It has technically been vacated for years, and it was best described as a nightmare. And it actually held up the closing date for the developer because we just couldn't get anywhere. And we finally went around and came up with a different solution.
Wow. Okay.
And they said that they had to provide insurance for the alley and pay for the lighting. And so we vacate in this, a lot for residents for safety reasons or whatever. It just seems like just depends on which alley has different requirements.
Using your example of the school, I mean, obviously there's no alley, right? There's no lights, utilities, and all of that because they built across the alley.
Right.
But we just couldn't figure out a simple solution to.
No, it was kind of a bureaucracy cluster.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion on Board Bill 109.
I move that we pass, I move that we pass Board Bill 109 out with the do-pass recommendation. Previous roll.
Hearing no objection to previous roll, Board Bill 109 comes out of committee with due pass recommendation. I have not heard from the sponsor of Board Bill 115 or Board Bill 132, so we will hold those until the next street meeting. I think also at the next street meeting, we'll have the street department come in and give us an update on refuse and how we're doing with the trash service, as well as maybe we'll have Miss Jennifer come in from the street department, who seems to be the sole source on alley vacations, and things can't seem to get done if she's on vacation or what have you. So I'd like to know more about that process so that we get a better understanding, because it's more than myself as well as Alderwoman Martin that have had issues with it taking so long to get processed. And that just doesn't make sense. And if we're giving up opportunities for development because we can't get something done, that's not fair. It's not fair to development, it's not fair to the city of St. Louis as a whole. So I'll be trying to schedule that, the next street hearing. I probably won't have another one for a couple of weeks unless there's a sense of urgency on these other two bills right here. Anybody have any questions or concerns about anything want to bring forward? Okay. Having no other questions or comments, the Streets, Traffic, and Refuse Committee is adjourned. That was pretty swift.